Hi everyone, welcome back to part 2 of our two-part video series. This time our healthcare consultant Shannon Hines will be covering managing emergencies. This is talking about post-event reporting and tracking, and from there I'll let Shannon take it away. Shannon?
Thanks, McKinley. Yeah, today we're going to focus on after the event, now how do we get kind of all of that data into the system so that we can report back on it. We're going to take a look at kind of 4 key areas as far as our tracking and reporting goes. The first thing we're going to take a look at is templates and using them to help us get work orders into the system quickly. We're going to take another look at QA survey and talk about how we can repurpose those surveys that we've already built and kind of change the nature of the questions now that the event is over. We're going to take a look at our projects feature and how we can kind of gather our information in that and kind of track our budgets and our work orders and our timelines as we're working on making any repairs that might have happened during our emergency events. And we're going to wrap up with just kind of talking about reporting, some kind of key features that we can use to make sure we're getting the most out of the data that we're putting into the system after these events have occurred. First up is going to be those templates. So we talk a lot about templates as far as using them with our scheduled work orders, but what we can do is actually create templates for our reactive work orders as well. And what this is going to allow us to do is kind of pre-build in templates into the system for the types of events or damage that we may expect to the building depending upon the emergency event that's happening. This way it allows us to open them up to requesters so that they can pull those in as they're putting in work request after the event or during the event, adding in leading questions so that it's easier for them to give you the information you need so that we can get quick response on those work orders, and then also just making it more efficient for them to put those work orders in. The same thing for your staff as well, because there's likely to be a lot of similar types of work orders, so pre-building those templates allows them to quickly populate that information so that we can keep track of all of that work that you guys may need to do in reference to completing that storm damage. Because again, we want to make sure that we're adding in this information so that we can track things like time and cost on our work orders so that we can pull all this data back in reporting later on. The other thing, again, is using those templates not just for your requesters, but also for your maintenance guys, especially if it's those repetitive things that if you have multiple buildings on your campus or just multiple instances of this happening, so that we can record those individually. So again, we can start reporting back on the types of damage that we're having done in the building, the prevalence of that damage, and what it took to actually complete the cost and the time on those work orders going forward. In our first section of this, we took a look at using our survey and inspection application to do kind of pre-storm checks around our buildings and in our critical areas. Just making sure everything from supplies in the right place to securing things, just kind of giving it a once over. After the event, there's going to be a lot of times that we're going to be walking the buildings and the grounds in different areas to check to see what damage is there. Especially if you're looking for set types of damage or to the buildings, what we can do is set up a post-event survey so that we can mark things as pass or fail using those work order templates to create those work orders on the fly. And this way, especially if we have larger campuses or buildings or multiple buildings, we can create that survey template once and then use it over and over again as we go and inspect all those different areas within our buildings. This gives us the ability to see it on our deficiencies dashboard as well. So it's kind of aggregating all that information in one place for us. So as we're going through and checking all these buildings, we have a quick and easy way to see kind of what's going on within our facilities. Projects is next. This is just a really good way to start grouping our work orders together and creating kind of ways to link them so that we can track things like time and cost, especially as we start getting budget monies in for projects to keep track of kind of what we've spent already, what we're anticipating spending. It allows us to group things together if we're looking at specific types of work orders or based on locations, creating those work orders and linking them together so that, again, we get good, nice, clean reporting, easy ways to track it because we have that additional projects dashboard that we can pull all that information back up on. And quickly see kind of where we are with all these different things that now have to be corrected based on that that event that happened. So it's just a really good and quick and easy way to kind of get that quick snapshot of all the work that you and your teams are doing to correct any of the damage that has happened in the building. And we do all of this for reporting. You know, a lot of it is built in, you know, just so we can track who's working on what, being able to put cost and times on things. But what the systems allow us to do, our CMMSs allow us to do, is aggregate that data after the event. So we can use this to start taking a look at our emergency preparedness plans, taking a look at the damage or situations that happened in the building to see where we need to go back and reflect, where we might need to make corrections, where based on how things were set up in the building, as things got damaged or we had to respond to different things, how we can maybe change that in the future or make adjustments in the future to both our plans and our building to help mitigate some of this damage. A couple of key things that we want to look at when we're doing reporting. The first of which is going to be using our source of work that we talked about in the last session, because it gives us a really quick and easy way to label all of the work orders to be able to pull them back out. So whether or not we add a source of work specifically naming it to the event, or we just group kind of all of our emergency preparedness or emergency event work orders together, that source of work will give us that ability to kind of pull it out quickly, highlight those work orders, and give us a nice clean report just looking at that specific type of work. The other thing too, as we are working through our reports, using that favorite reports option so that instead of having to build them every time, we can save them, we can group them together in our favorites library on the reporting tab so that we have quick and easy ways to pull that information back up, keep on top of it, keep on track of it, just aggregating that data for as we're preparing for events, as we're cleaning up post-event, and then as we get into kind of our post-event review to make sure our plans are working in the most efficient way. So it's all about kind of leveraging all of that data that we have the ability to store in our CMMSs to evaluate further or future events as far as our emergency plans have gone.
All right, thank you, Shannon, and thank you to everyone who's joined us for this two-part video series. Please let us know if you have any questions, get in contact with us if you like these and want us to continue doing them in the future. But thank you. Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you, McKinley.